Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I'm going to do something a little different. I just got back from NPC Nationals, the final national show of the year for the NPC, and got a lot of thoughts running through my head, and I kind of just want to get it out there. So there isn't going to be really a formal thought here. I'm going to go over, talk about each of my competitors, talk about the show, and just give some insight into my thoughts on what's going on in the bikini division, what's going on in the world of this sport. And I'm doing it here at the podcast station for Redefined Healthy Radio. So if you're not listening to Lauren and my podcast called Redefined Healthy Radio, if I can remember, I'll link it in the description box, but we talk about all this stuff as well. So the idea behind today's video is I just have these things running through my head. It was a successful show on many fronts. We have a new IFBB Pro and Team Pro Physique, but there were some things that were left unfinished. And no matter what you do at a national show, there's going to be highs and lows. Okay, so what I thought I would do is just kind of go over what I thought, and I'll talk about each of my competitors and give some feedback so you guys can understand what this sport is about, what it's evolving into, where it's been, where it's going a little bit, and just give my thoughts on how do we deal with success and failure. So I'm just going to go by class, and in Class A, I had two competitors who are both going to be very good competitors for a long time. And what do I mean by that? What makes someone a competitor? Well, in my mind, it's people that love this lifestyle. They love going to the gym. They love dieting down for shows. Doesn't mean it's always easy. What I mean by love it is they love the process of it. The result on stage is just a part of that. In my mind, a good competitor is someone that if you took away the stage completely, they would still be doing the same lifestyle. They just would never actually compete. But for that reason, I think that Valentina Rodriguez and Lauren Sandin, who were both in Class A, are going to be competitors for a very long time. And my goal as a coach is to set them up for the most success possible. And that starts with Lauren Sandin, who, if you watched my videos early this year, she did NPC Junior USAs and didn't do well. We were not able to get her into the condition that she needed. She hadn't been with me for a very long time and was using a different approach to prep. And even when I got a hold of her, it was still very difficult for us to make any progress. So after the disappointment of Junior USAs, two things can happen. You can either get depressed, lose your shit, and just start being an asshole and treating yourself like crap, or you can do what Lauren did and realize that that was just a placing and that she still had a lot of positives that came out of that. She prepped despite planning for a wedding, moving across the country, okay? So when she actually got moved and finished her wedding, something pretty great happened. We were able to increase her food, drop her cardio, and she basically maintained her stage weight from Junior USAs. So much to the point that I thought, well, we could probably make a run at Miami if you feel really good in the next couple months. And lo and behold, we did. And along the way, she actually won 2 overalls. That's right. And Lauren is a 5'1" competitor. So winning an overall in the NPC is very difficult in its own right. But for her to win 2 as a Class A girl, it really had me excited for Miami National. She has this amazing front pose, and I'm going to try to put some pictures and videos in here so you guys aren't just staring at me the whole time. But she has an amazing front pose, amazing shape, and I just think we missed our mark a little bit in Miami. We've been in prep for a long time this year. She didn't quite fill out and have that crisp, hard look. I also think either it was on her mind that she didn't look as good as she could because she didn't pose with that confidence and that flair that some of the girls did that I'll get to in a minute. Then Valentina Rodriguez, who has been in last call-outs at a national show before. Both of these girls were in second call-outs. So it's not as if they were overlooked or missed. It's just that the competition is so amazing at this level that to be in first call-outs at a show like Miami is the equivalent of just being nearly a pro, right? You have to be so good. So both these girls actually ended up in second call-outs. Now, it was a little disappointing for Lauren because we had our sights set on that first call-out, but it was very exciting for Valentina, her highest placing at a national show. So those were the girls in Class A. Now, I didn't have anybody in B, I didn't have anybody in C, but I had 2 girls in D. Both the girls in D looked amazing. Larissa Johnson came out after a couple weeks ago not doing too well in St. Augustine. And by not doing too well, I mean she didn't win the show. And I think she's someone that's got overall potential. Much improvement since the show a couple weeks ago. And that's one of the things I like to do before these national shows is get on stage to get some stage experience, get some, looks at how peaking is going so that we can kind of learn from that process and either improve it, repeat it, whatever we need to do. But with Larissa, we didn't quite hit our mark a couple weeks ago, but we nailed it for NPC Nationals. And I couldn't have been happier with how she looked. I thought she was a shoe-in for first call-outs. Ended up in third call-outs, and there was some weird stuff going on there in that D-class first call-out that I was like, I really thought Larissa was going to be amongst them. But lo and behold, it wasn't meant to be. And the thing I love about Larissa is she's like, you know what, coach? Let's get back to work. Come back to the stage. She's going to finish up her nursing degree, finish up all that stuff, and then come back in 2 years. Guess what that means? She's going to be amazing because she is someone, again, who I consider a great competitor because she lives the lifestyle. It's not like she just preps for Instagram. I don't even think she hardly ever posts on Instagram. She's not in the fitness lifestyle because of the feedback she gets. She loves the fitness lifestyle. She loves eating well. She loves training hard. She loves putting on muscle. And she actually loves the bikini division. So I have full confidence that when she comes back in a couple of years, there's going to be nobody in her way. And the second girl I had in D is Alexandra Vathauer, who I met 1 year before. So what's very cool is that, when I go to these shows, sometimes I get some face-to-face time with people who are interested in coaching. And so Alexandra grabbed me last year after she got off stage in Miami, and we were able to start the process then. Coming out of the show with a lot of intention, with the intention of coming back. Now, she was in last call-outs in Miami, which when I looked at her, I thought, wow, she's beautiful. She has great shape. She just has, to me, what the bikini division wants. She has that overall package, stunning stage presence. Her posing is fantastic. And I really feel like she's a lock to be a pro in the near future. So much so that what was great this year is that we were able to get her a win in her class in 2 shows. She also got second call-outs and ended up in 7th place at North Americans. And we moved up from last call-outs to first call-outs in Miami. So a huge congratulations to Ali, just narrowly missing that top 5. And I think her fire has been lit. And again, another example of a great competitor. Now in the F class, the first time I met this girl, Andi Barger, was this weekend. And we've been working together for a little while. And we did a show a few weeks prior, and something really fun happened. We hit a stage weight. She won her class, but didn't win the overall. We were able to start reversing her, and she started dropping weight. So much so that when I saw her in Miami, she was down 3 or 4 pounds from her winning stage weight, and she looked fantastic. Now, the thing that Andi was missing was she doesn't have a lot of experience getting on stage. And I noticed right away, me and Raja were posing with her, and I just felt like she didn't exude confidence. And it's hard to explain unless you see it in person, unless you go to a show, and maybe I'm putting some clips up on here. But when people walk out on stage and are ready to be a pro, you can see it on their face, in their body language. They tell you, and I feel like Andi still has a little ways to go with her confidence because her physique, her beauty, her muscularity, it's all there. We've just got to work on coming in a little bit better in the confidence department, and she's going to be doing some wonderful things. Now in G class, I had 2 competitors who are kind of very different at this point. So Katy Reeves came to me a couple weeks ago. She was having some real problems in prep. We had a couple long phone calls, and we decided to start now. Now, usually I don't take on a client who's in a position that is less than ideal. But the way I looked at it was we can set her up for success by putting her in the right mindset, the right diet, the right approach to the prep, so that when we come out of prep, we're in a better place than where she was going to be. So although Katy was not my client for a long time, I really feel like we were able to do 2 shows together and get her in such a good place mentally. And the real reason that I wanted to work with her is because she came recommended from multiple clients. Multiple of my clients said, you should work with this girl. And when I saw her in St. Augustine, I was like, wow, she did her posing routine for me. And Katy, if you're watching, you just have a natural talent. You have that confidence. You have that like beauty and that poise on stage that is, I don't know how coachable it is, but some people just intrinsically have that, and you have it. So She also has a ton of muscle, great shape. So when we are able to properly get her into stage condition through the use of proper reverse dieting, we're going to get her metabolism back up, make sure she's putting on some muscle, and get her down to stage weight. Again, she's another one that I consider is going to be very tough for anyone to beat when she is at her best. Speaking of at her best, the other girl, Angie, Kendra Davis. Now, Kendra is someone who I've done a couple shows with, and she's always been first call-outs at Nationals, right? As recently as Universe this year, she was first call-outs. And so we decided to call it after Universe and plan for Miami, with the goal being to come in even better. And did we ever? In fact, it was her best look ever. She was someone that I was thinking, okay, first call-outs, competing for her class, maybe competing for the overall. That's how good Kendra is. Now, she did get first call-outs, but she did not get moved to the middle. In fact, she finished just outside the top 5, which was strange considering how good she looked. But the overall winner did come from the G class, okay? And so those girls were amazing. And again, I felt like Kendra, when she was side by side with those girls, physique-wise, balance, beauty, she had them all. She was as good as any of them. I do think, you know, and this is the thing about Nationals, I think we kind of missed the mark with the color. Kendra's tan did not get as rich and as dark. And again, when you don't have that rich, dark tan and you're comparing apples to apples and something doesn't jive with the rest of what's on stage, sometimes I feel like those judges just overlook you a little bit. And so in my mind, Kendra is someone that is going to be coming back to the national stage ready to win an overall. Like, we're not just coming for that pro card. She's someone that's ready to step on the pro stage now and be very successful. Finally, let's talk about the H class, and this is where we had a lot of competitors, okay? So when it comes to the H class, it's 5'7" and over, and at this show, I think there was 39 or 40 competitors. So we had a very competitive group. And I had a lot of girls that had won overalls coming into this show. And in the first call-outs, what we had was Rachel Saylor and Anne-Marie Lawrence. Now, both of them in the first call-out looked amazing. In fact, Anne-Marie held center all of first call-out. They never even moved her. They moved all the girls around her. Rachel started off in the 3 or 4 position, and then they actually moved to the outside, so she finished just outside the top 5. But this was Rachel's first ever national show. So to get first call-outs at your first national show, that tells you something. Because if you guys remember, a girl named Raja last year got first call-outs at her first national show, and she's done pretty good since then. So these are indicators to me that we are ready to be competitive. And Rachel's someone that has been prepping while going to school. She's going to be a nurse anesthesiologist, and so she has been extremely dedicated throughout this year. She won an overall here in Tampa. She was in the overall with Raja as well. So this girl is just always going to be someone that is hard to contend with for anybody on stage, because she's beautiful, tons of muscle, has great shape, and so I was excited for her. And then of course Anne-Marie ended up turning pro. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But our other 2 H girls were in the second call out. Now, Katy Evans is someone that I've been working with for a couple years, and we've always been tinkering with the look that we want. We brought her in last year to Miami for Nationals a little bit too lean. So Katy was a little bit too lean last year at Miami Nationals, and this is where the sport is changing a little bit. A few years ago, you used to be able to over diet to the point where you were so shredded that you had a bunch of lines and got a bunch of attention. The bikini division now is more about shape. They want you to get lean enough to show off your shape, but not so lean that you have to see veins and striations to see the separation in the muscles. Well, how do you do that? You have to have more muscle. So what did we do with Katy? We spent this year getting back to a better place. She actually did North Americans, and we were not happy because we tried to bring her in a little fuller. Well, we ended up coming in a few pounds heavier than Miami for the show, and this was without a doubt my favorite look to date for Katy. So why was she in second callouts? Because Jesus Christ, this is a crazy sport. And when you look at someone like Katy, and I'll put some pictures or videos on the screen of her right now, and you tell me this is second callouts, sometimes you just have to throw your hands up and say, this sport, it's just the elite of the elite at this point. You know, a few years ago, you could go to these national shows and there would be a big difference between the top 2 or 3 and the rest of the class. Literally, 3rd, 4th call-outs at these shows now could almost be flip-flopped. It's very tiny differences between the first and last call-outs. So when someone like Katy's in second call-outs, initially I'm disappointed, but I cannot be disappointed in the way that she looks, the way that she poses, her confidence. We also got to spend some time together on Sunday, and I saw Katy was in such a good place. And that's part of it for me as a coach, is making sure, you know, that that we're in a good headspace coming out of the show. And so I got to hang out with Nick and Katy on the boat, and they were just having a blast. And so, you know, as much as I want Katy to turn pro, because I just think she's incredible, well, we just have to keep plugging away and making sure we're improving. But this was, in my mind, the best package to date for Katy. Now, another different type of competitor that competed in Class H is Chelsea Headland. Now, I met Chelsea at Junior Nationals in Chicago this year, and we've been chatting all year. We actually did 2 shows just prior to Nationals, and she got first place at both. And so we came into Nationals with a lot of kind of ammunition as far as how to peak, how to look, and I could not have been more pleased. In fact, Chelsea peaked so well, she might have been a little bit too hard, but she's actually got this insane waist. So we don't use the typical front pose with her. We actually do a stagger pose with her because her waist is so tiny and we really want to show it off. She also has great symmetry with shoulders, lats, and so she got into the second callouts as well. But honestly, with her looks, she's very beautiful with her shape, tons of like tiny waist, wide shoulders, all the things. The only kind of thing that I feel like we're missing before she's one of the top call out girls and, you know, probably turning pro is just a build fuller glutes, because I feel like her upper body kind of overpowers her glutes in the back shot. And so I think that's one of the reasons that she wasn't in that first call out. But the only other thing I could think was her color was a little light. You know, she's another person that we gotta focus on the color. And anyone here who's thinking like, why is color so hard? Well, everyone responds differently to the tan. So, you know, I work with Pro Tan, and I have a lot of my athletes either do their own tan or do Pro Tan at the show because I know how predictable it is. But they recently came out with a product called Super Dark that I found that is kind of necessary for some of the lighter skinned girls. Also, your color can kind of change throughout the day. You can put the tan on and then it kind of gets soaked in, it kind of flattens out. So sometimes you have to really pay attention. So why don't we get it right every time? Well, because we're learning this process. And as we learn it, guess what? We get better at it. And by the time you master it, that's when you're ready to be a pro. And so that's when all these things to come together: hair, makeup, tan, posing, you know, physique, peaking. By the time someone turns pro, they're so good at all these things that they're ready to go to the pro stage, because the pro stage, you have to be flawless, okay? And so that's how high the competition level is at the amateur level, okay? To get to a pro card, you have to be basically ready to walk on a pro stage right away to get a pro card at this point. Literally, I go to a lot of the pro shows and I notice that some of the pros don't even look as good as the girls that are currently turning pro, okay? Because the sport's evolving and it's becoming more about muscle, shape. All these things are having a much bigger impact on the stage, and I really feel like there's just some more genetically gifted athletes that are showing up. So what does that mean, genetically gifted? Well, if we're talking about shape, things like wide shoulders, a small waist, a front pose that really allows you to show off balance, you know, some nice muscles in the shoulders, the lats, the glutes, really creating that taper in the front pose from the back, having, you know, nice shoulders. Beauty helps. I mean, this is a part of the sport, you know. Anything that is going to attract people to look at you, you know, the bikini division is not just like bodybuilding where it's gnarly muscle and vascularity and, you know, slabs of pecs. It's part pageant too. It's part, you know, when someone walks out, do they express confidence and do they act like a pro? And if that's the case, that is going to work in their favor. I saw many girls this weekend that I did not really see them as perhaps the best physique in their class, but you could not deny just how super confident they were, and a few of them turned pro. So when it came to the little things with Chelsea, like the tan and maybe a little bit of glute fullness, that's where we just got to turn the dial just a little bit more to really get to that level of ready to be a pro. Now, the final girl for H was Destiny. Now, Destiny did not get into second callouts. She was in third or fourth callouts. She was not in the last callout, so I think it was third or fourth. And they moved her to the middle of that callout. And Destiny's front pose is hands down one of the best in the sport. You will not see a better front pose. And I think she and I are considering switching divisions to the new wellness division. Now, I don't have a lot of clients that I feel like would be a great fit for that, only a handful, but one of the issues we ran into this year with Destiny was getting her lower body to lose muscle. Her glutes and quads are so big that we actually had to stop training lower body, which I hate doing. This is a muscle contest. So this wellness division, when you look at someone like Destiny, who's gorgeous, tons of stage presence, this tiny little waist, great upper body, but overpowering lower body, Well, who knows? She may be someone that fits right into this wellness division, because the first wellness show is going to be March, right? So we're really going to find out early in 2020 what they're looking for. Now, I'm not specifically targeting the wellness division until I get to know it more. But Destiny brought this idea up to me, and I think it's something we're going to consider going ahead because she has a natural knack for the stage. So we finished up the day with Class H, and then it came down to the placings. Now, when the placings started happening, you know, you kind of know where things are going to go. There was a couple girls that I didn't know if they were like 4th or 5th, 5th or 6th, that type of thing. But really the placing that mattered the most was Anne-Marie, because she was in center. And actually, you know, I had planned for her to be in the overall. We went and got her makeup done by Carolyn. For anyone that's familiar with makeup, Carolyn Workman is just amazing. So I actually reached out to Carolyn. I said, can you do Anne-Marie's makeup for finals? She did. I reached out to Pro Tan, my contact there, and I said, hey, let's make sure Anne-Marie's tan is ready for finals. Well, lo and behold, Anne-Marie got second.
Finishing in second place, number 708, Anne-Marie Lawrence.
So initially there was a little bit of disappointment there, but when you think about the fact that we've spent an entire year with one goal in mind, getting a pro card, and a class of 40 girls, and the girl that beat her looked amazing. So there was no lack of excitement for me for Anne-Marie turning pro. And what's more is I really feel, as I've been to so many pro shows this year, that Anne-Marie is ready to walk on the stage now as a pro. So we're already making plans for that. And she's in a great headspace. She's so excited. She's actually to the point where we were reversing her into the show. Her food was going up, cardio was coming down. And after spending Saturday and Sunday with some of my competitors, one of the great things I saw was we weren't splurging, we weren't binging. We were just going out, enjoying some things, maybe going to the gym, walking around. Miami's a great city for the day after a show. In fact, I was able to, through my friend, get a boat, and a couple of us went out there Sunday afternoon, went on the boat for a few hours, walked around Miami, had some lunch, and just ended it on an amazing note on Sunday. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the 2019 season for the national stage. Now, I will be in Virginia January 8th, 9th, and 10th for Sean's Conquering Cuties, Conquering the Stage thing. So I'll link that below if you want to come. I'm going to be speaking. They're going to be talking about all things bikini prep. And then beyond that, we have a bunch of fun events coming up. I'll be at the LA Fit Expo, and I'm going to be at the Arnold, Ohio, of course. De Raja has applied for that, so it will be my first time as a coach there if she is accepted. And then we'll also have some amateurs. So just thank you guys for listening, for following along. It's been an amazing year. I just wanted to get this out while it was fresh on my mind. But I could not be more proud of all of these girls, and I can't wait to see what's next for them on the stage and for all of the team girls from Pro Physique. Thank you guys. Have an awesome day.